This is very boring football. Corletto's time is over. It's a disgrace. They aren't doing anything at all. Not running, not playing. They have no ideas. It's a nightmare. Absolute tactical anarchy. Jude has as much desire to go to work as I do in the mornings. Madrid fans were leaving the stadium long before the final whistle of the Champions League match against Milan, and as we can see, we're very, very angry. This is the absolute bottom that Madrid has sunk to after 2 consecutive losses at Santiago Bernabeu to Barcelona and Milan. Changing anything will be difficult, even considering Carlo's experience. The team is playing too openly. Milan and Stuttgart had more possession than Madrid. The balance has been disrupted in Jude's position. He is still trying to find his place, experts say. Meanwhile, Marco reports that Carlo is having problems in the locker room. Since the first match of the season, the coach has been trying to convey to the players the importance of their attitude towards the game. But, as we can see from the results, the players didn't hear him. Even Valverde's wife couldn't take it anymore and wrote the following: "I better turn this off, or I'll get arrested." Where does Federico play best? It's as a defensive midfielder. What are you even talking about? When the hell are they finally going to understand that Valverde is not a winger? Questions and more questions. Not so much for the players, but already for Madrid's head coach. Since the start of the season, questions have been piling up. We were watching to see if there would be progress. How noticeable is this progress in the game? We are not finding this progress. And, in the end, we are falling apart. We are already erasing it. We are very angry because of the loss in El Clasico, now the loss to Milan, and there is no future to talk about, unlike a month or 2 ago. Moreover, more and more insights in. Opinions are emerging that Carlo is not managing this season and urgently needs to be replaced. So let's figure out what exactly isn't working for Madrid, and if this continues, who could replace the Italian coach in the middle of this season? Problem number 1. How to combine Vini Jr. and Mbappe. After Mbappe's arrival in Madrid, we expected that our attack would now look completely different, powerful, unstoppable. But literally any team can handle it. Vini Jr. and Mbappe have to share positions on the left flank. Mbappe is already complaining that the role of a number 9, center forward, doesn't suit him, and this misunderstanding continues match after match. I'm curious, did Carlo have a plan for how to integrate them, or was he hoping that they were just big players who simply they were supposed to figure out on the field how each one plays and interacts, and that chemistry was supposed to happen on its own? By the way, Mbappe gets a lot of criticism, but we see that he's trying. B, he regularly creates dangerous moments, and C, he just can't score. So sooner or later, of course, he'll start scoring. It's not the biggest problem, but it doesn't answer the question of how they should ideally play. At the same time, Mbappe's arrival has certainly brought other difficulties to the starting lineup, which we need to discuss separately. First of all, Carlo has decided to play with high pressing this season, and this high pressing doesn't suit the current Madrid at all. Any team in La Liga can handle this high pressing, no matter where they are in the standings, and especially in the Champions League. Leo managed it, and Berisha could have handled it too, if not for their disastrous second half and our successful one. And now Milan has shown that this is also not a problem. Vini Jr. and Mbappe are in very high positions. They can't press. They're completely cut off. Let me show you a picture. Look at how the formation looks, where Vini Jr. is positioned, and where Mbappe is. And you know what this reminds me of. This reminds me of Paris Saint-Germain from last season, where Milan Mbappe, wearing number 7, is positioned far, far away. We all know what Paris Saint-Germain has achieved, and if Madrid is turning into Paris Saint-Germain right before our eyes, then, please, not this, anything but this. This is regarding 2 individuals, but at the same time, we see that the high pressing in Madrid over these past few months just isn't implemented. It's simply not present in the games. It's just not working, and Carlo isn't backing away from that. He continues to stick to the same approach. That isn't working. Isn't this a question for the head coach? Another problem that remains unresolved. Tony is gone. We held our breath because we didn't quite understand how Madrid would look in the midfield without Tony. We hoped that Valverde would definitely step into this role and handle it well. I think the player himself hoped to take on this role, but in reality, he's being offered various roles on the field, depending on the match and the situation. But the one who's suffering the most isn't even Valverde, Bellingham, who is extremely unhappy. We can see it in his actions on the field, how he starts to lose it, how he gets nervous, because last season was magnificent. He was scoring goals, providing assists, and now what is he supposed to do? Exclusively defense. He plays in the holding position. He goes in for tackles. He plays in recovery. This is not the Jude we saw before, and this Jude is handling this role as best as he can. But it's clear that he doesn't like it. So this replacement for Tony hasn't been found. And again, was there a plan from Carlo? Or was it just something we'll figure out as the match goes on? And it should just come together. Of course, when there are no results, we start to question the lineup more and more. It's as if a team has emerged that Carlo believes in, and they put it out there for every match, no matter what happens. Minimal rotation, only if injuries occur. During the match, the substitutions are pretty standard as well. And we look at the bench. Somewhere at the far end of that bench or in the corner of the locker room are two young players we're counting on. Endrick and Golar. They only play on big occasions. Just think about it. They've spent just 1 minute on the field together in the last 4 matches. They're just not given a chance. Even when the team is losing. Even when those who are constantly on the field aren't performing. Well, there's the depth of the bench. And here are the young talents, especially Guler and Endrick. They've already been on the field, and they've shown they can play, they can deliver results, and now they're pushed way back. Isn't that a question? Why not try something new again? And this is a list of questions we can keep going with. Why didn't we buy defenders in the summer? We need a center back or a fullback because we have such major problems with our defense. And in general, why are all those familiar players in the defense line in such terrible form? When will Madrid look good functionally? That's another question we can ask here. If you have any other questions that I haven't listed here, please write them in the comments, and I'll wrap it up, because all these questions are directed solely at the coaching staff. And here we're putting the question bluntly. Carlo believes so much in this main lineup and his ideas that they should eventually work. Well, why doesn't he change? Why isn't he looking? Why isn't he trying? Why isn't he making an effort to fix what isn't working every week? Either Carlo has naturally hit a dead end, or he just doesn't believe in anything anymore. That's a very important question. If that's the case, then Carlo's resignation doesn't seem unrealistic. I don't know what other motivation is needed to play for a win in the upcoming La Liga match against Osasuna, to play for a win with a margin at Santiago Bernabeu, and to make up for those 2 losses. They need to pull themselves together. The players understand this. Carlo knows this because the management is unhappy, and there are more and more rumors that he could be fired. I think there really needs to be a win here. If it doesn't happen, I don't know what to think anymore. The promo code is on your screens. The deposit will triple. You can find the link pinned in the comments if you want to play too. Now let's imagine the worst case scenario. Things don't improve. And these next 2 matches, and then against Liverpool in the Champions League. Nothing works, nothing changes, and Carlo resigns. Who would replace him? Who can take over Real in the middle of the season? Our plan, which is falling apart before our eyes, was for Xabi Alonso to come, but he was supposed to arrive next summer, finishing his work with Bayer Leverkusen, while Carlo Ancelotti also completes this season, and then a swap happens. I don't think Xabi Alonso from Leverkusen will actually arrive today, let's say in November or December. It's just not very realistic. Most likely, there will be a search for a coach to finish out this season. But this season isn't lost, because we're still in La Liga, still participating in the Champions League, and we can at least fight for the playoffs. Yes, and we will do that. We still have all the trophies ahead of us, so it's unlikely that any replacement will be appointed, especially from within the Madrid structure where promising coaches are working. Raul has been waiting for his chance for a long time. Also, Arbeloa, who could lead the team. There's also recent information that Sarri might take over Madrid, but it seems to me that all of this will happen throughout this season, just to get through it and still wait for Xabi Alonso. Well, let's see who we have available here. On the free agent market, there are Italians Allegri and Sarri, there's Potter, there's Ten Hag, and there's Xabi. Just kidding, just kidding. Let's smile a bit. You can't just allow yourself so many negative emotions. In fact, there is only one person who can lead Madrid. If Carlo really leaves in November or December, if things don't work out, this person was seen before the Madrid-Milan match. Zidane's appearance has caused a real buzz among the fans, and his third return to Madrid could really happen. After leaving in 2021, Zidane hasn't worked with any team, rejecting all the offers he received. And it seems to me that Perez could persuade Zidane to take over Madrid in order to see this season through. I think Zidane's management style is just what's needed in this case. Win. The team needs a boost, including bringing together a locker room that, as we can see, is starting to falter. And there's a lot of talk about it being, in general, broken. Zidane is the most suitable candidate. We discussed the worst case scenario, but as Madrid fans, of course, we believe that everything will get better. We still believe that everything will get better. If you don't believe it, please write in the comments. I'd love to read what mistakes Carlo made, whether he should be fired, and if so, who should replace him. I'd be happy to read it all. Also, subscribe to the channel and like this video if you enjoyed it. We'll see each other very soon. Goodbye.